The trade deadline has already seen big names like Max Scherzer, Lucas Giolito, and Lance Lynn all switching teams. And with much more to come, let's take a look at the winners and losers so far. Starting off with the Chicago White Sox, it's important to make the disparity between the on-field performance and the successes of the front office. No fan loves the idea of a fire sale, but when you look at it, they've done well. The first news broke on July 26 when the White Sox traded Lucas Giolito and Reynaldo Lopez to the Los Angeles Angels for Edgar Quero and Ky Bush. Starting with who the Sox lost, Giolito is having a great year from the starting pitching side and fills a big void for the Angels behind Ohtani. As for Lopez, he is having a decent season out of the pen, and the important thing here to note is that both players are free agents after the season. With so little success as a team for the White Sox, it is important to get value from impending free agents, and I think they did well in this trade by grabbing two prospects that rank inside their top 6 according to the MLB pipeline. The headliner of the trade is Edgar Quero, a catcher prospect at AA at only 20 years old. Quero is currently ranked 65th by the MLB pipeline out of the top 100, largely in part to his 2022 campaign where he crushed single A. He finished the year with a 965 OPS and 17 bombs, which led to him being named the Angels Minor League Player of the Year. He has a good approach with some raw power and should be into the majors by 2025. To go along with Quero, they got his battery mate Ky Bush. Bush doesn't have extreme upside, but he is a really polished left-hander with a 4-pitch mix. His debut has been slowed due to some injuries, but he should be up relatively soon if he can stay healthy. Overall, it was a hard pill to swallow giving away a star pitcher, but they did well in his return in my opinion. On July 28th, the White Sox made a couple moves. The first sent Lance Lynn and Joe Kelly to the Dodgers for Trayce Thompson, Nick Nastrini, and Jordan Leisure. Starting with the departing players, both Lynn and Kelly have been bigger names than producers so far this season. Both players have an ERA close to or well above 5 and negative WARs. For the return package, Thompson isn't much to talk about. He's a 32-year-old outfielder that saw a great flash in the pan last year, but has been sidelined with an oblique strain since early June. Nastrini was the headliner of the deal and he slots as the 4th best prospect in the White Sox system. Nastrini is a starting pitcher currently sat at AA at the age of 23. If the White Sox can develop this guy, he can become a frontline starter. It's just a matter of that they can get him to find his control. His stuff is filthy, he just needs to find strikes more consistently. The last name in the package is Jordan Leisure, who is a really tantalizing prospect. He's always been incredible at striking out batters and limiting walks, then last season came out with a much improved fastball that can hit triple digits. It improved so much that it received the rare 80 grade on the pitch. He is limited to a 2-pitch mix and will need to come out of the bullpen, but this dude could be in the majors very soon with that sort of fastball. All in all, for what the White Sox were getting from Lynn and Kelly, I think this trade is a huge win from my perspective. That's not to say I don't think the Dodgers will be able to turn these players around with their history as pitching gurus. And finally, the most recent trade for the White Sox saw them trade Kendall Graveman to the Astros for catching prospect Corey Lee. Graveman has been really solid so far this year, and I think it makes sense to trade off the veteran while he is pitching well. My issue comes with getting Corey Lee back. Lee has been slipping as a prospect for a couple years now. He put up really poor results on his stint in the majors last year and lost his position as the catcher of the future in Houston. I worry for his sustainability at the position and if he is one of these 4A guys. The first loser of the video is the Cleveland Guardians. They've only made one move, and that is the trade of Amed Rosario to the Los Angeles Dodgers for Noah Syndergaard. I understand that Rosario hasn't been an elite producer or anything from the shortstop spot this season, but I don't think it makes sense to trade him and make a glaring hole in the roster. And I understand that the prospect of getting an elite Noah Syndergaard is tantalizing, but pitching was not an issue for this team. The team should be making moves for more bats, not grabbing even more pitching. Moving south for a team that is only grabbing pitching is the Miami Marlins, a team I'm sure all of us are really surprised are in a spot to compete this year. And I'm loving that they're going all for it with their moves at the deadline. So far, the Fish have gone heavy on bullpen help by grabbing Jose Castillo from the Padres for cash, swapping Dylan Floro and Jorge Lopez with Minnesota, but more importantly, grabbing David Robertson from the Mets for Marco Vargas and Ronald Hernandez. While it looks like the Marlins gave up a lot for a rental reliever who would be a free agent at the end of the season, I don't take that much issue with their giveaway. Both are 18-year-olds in rookie ball. Both are admittedly crushing it at the moment, but still the players are a long ways away from being able to contribute, and I'm happy to see that the Marlins are actually going for it. The second loser of the video is the Los Angeles Dodgers. For the Dodgers, the expectation is much more than to simply just be going for it, and the trades that they're making don't make much sense for what they're giving up. The move for Kike Hernandez was a really good, feel-good story that doesn't really move the needle that much. He is a utility guy who unfortunately has developed into one of the worst hitters in baseball. The Dodgers really didn't give up much in the move though, so there really isn't much to complain about. It is a low risk, low reward move. The previously mentioned Noah Syndergaard for Amed Rosario makes slightly more sense from the Dodgers' perspective, but still shouldn't be a move that makes anyone happy in LA. Getting rid of Syndergaard is probably addition by subtraction at this point, but Rosario cannot be the fix for this team at shortstop. The Dodgers need more production from the shortstop spot to keep pace with teams like the Braves come to postseason play. And this move just doesn't move the needle enough for me to think that they still don't need a big name shortstop. Another previously mentioned trade had the Dodgers grabbing Lance Lynn and Joe Kelly from the White Sox for Trace Thompson, Nick Nastrini, and Jordan Leisure. I respect the move for Lynn and Kelly. I think it is great that they believe in their development staff that much, but what they gave up was a little too much from my perspective. At the end of the day, both of these acquired pitchers have not been particularly great this season, and to give up two pitching prospects with really great stuff that could be in the majors within 2 years was a bit of a reach in my opinion. All in all, I felt like the Dodgers were more interested in getting the band back together than making the right moves to actually fix the issues of this roster. The team placed a lot of faith in their ability to fix players while giving up on premium talent in their mind. Back to teams making the right moves, the Rangers grabbed Max Scherzer. The hate on Scherzer is getting a little unjustified. I understand he isn't the ace his contract would imply, but there is still a good pitcher in there, especially when you look at the underlying numbers, and I think the Rangers saw that. The Rangers did give up a lot in Luis Angel Acuna. Luis Angel is Ronald's brother and is showing in his play at AA. Acuna is an all-around beast from the shortstop spot and should be in the majors by 2024. Acuna is currently ranked as the 44th best prospect in the majors, and again, is a lot to give up. But for the Rangers, Acuna didn't really fit into the plans for the future. If you think about their infield, it is set for the foreseeable future, and the Rangers are trying to win this season as opposed to waiting for another bat a few years down the line. The Rangers were in need of a big-name pitcher alongside Nathan Eovaldi after the DeGrom injury, and the Rangers went out aggressively and solved that. Let's just hope that they can get Scherzer back to peak form, because if he is, this team goes to another level. And finally, let's talk about the New York Mets. Again, it is important to distinguish the on-field failures from the successes of the general manager. It is no secret that this year has been a failure, but for only trading two players who were on expiring deals, they've done well. Luis Angel Acuna is probably the franchise's top prospect and actually has a place on this team unlike he had in Texas. In the trade for Robertson, I would have liked to see the Mets go for talent a lot closer to the MLB level, but at the end of the day, they got back really good talent. As previously mentioned, Marco Vargas is crushing rookie ball, and so is counterpart Ronald Hernandez. All in all, I think the trading away of only two players, getting 3 top 17 prospects back in your system, 2 of which being in a top 6 and 1 likely being your best prospect in your system, I would consider that a W. Let me know who you guys have as the winners and losers down below, as well as who you guys have on the move at the trade deadline. I'm always down there having a conversation with you all. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful day.